Let's welcome in. We'll talk more about this in a little bit, but the Hurley family is basketball royalty. Like, they really are. And Woj wrote the book on Dan's father, who conquered the Northeast teaching basketball correctly. It's kind of crazy, honestly, to see this family dominate this sport this way, because they know how to coach fundamental basketball in a way that outsmarts everyone they're playing against.
Dan Hurley's dad is a legend.
It's
51
unbelievable.
years at
And
St. Anthony's.
a better coach than Dan. Dan's the bum in the family. He's the bum in the family. He's underachieved with only a couple of championships. The bum joins us now. And this is what a bum he is, Stugotz. He could have been living in Malibu. Instead, he's coming from a luxurious all-day camp for high schoolers in Orlando, where it was 100 degrees yesterday.
He chose Stores over L.A.
Stores, Connecticut, over a home in Malibu coaching LeBron. One of the great idiots of our time, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Hurley with us.
Hey, Dan. Let's go, Danny. Yeah.
Hey, guys.
Welcome, sir. I was confused by the last week. Congratulations on all your success. And it's certainly deserved for you to be the big free agent negotiating for Laker money. But what do you make of the last 10 days of your life?
Wild, man. I mean, just wild. I think, for me, just kind of like last week, beginning of the week, maybe Monday, you start to, have, conversation with your agent, about what your serious interest level would be in making such a move. So you really, the beginning of last week, you started really putting into my mind, was it something I would really put serious consideration into? And after thinking about it, like earlier in the week, it was something I wanted to explore. The opportunity to potentially coach the Lakers and to coach one of the greatest players of all time, and to coach another, one of the best, players in the NBA and AD, and to lead such a storied franchise, and to walk the sidelines, where some of the greatest to ever do it, Pat Riley and Phil Jackson. I mean, it was something in my mind that I had to explore and consider and see what it looked like.
Did you talk to LeBron?
I did not. We had some communication. One of my first games I ever coached in as a high school coach was against LeBron in Delaware, when he was at St. Mary's St. Vincent. His team came into that game with a 66-game winning streak, and it was my first year as a head coach. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. When the game ended, he had a 67-game winning streak, and so I shared the court with him once, and it would have been a thrill to coach him.
To be clear, though, Dan, the reason I asked the question is when Tom Izzo was considering this kind of job change to Cleveland, he couldn't get a hold of LeBron. He never spoke to him. The reason I asked the question is because it'd be hard for you to make that particular decision without knowing LeBron's totally on board with what it is you're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. And, I think he's obviously one of the greatest players, an incredible basketball mind. And, I know that he wants, he wants a great coach in that organization. I know that's important to him.
What a great recruiting pitch for you, though. You turned down Kentucky, you turned down LeBron, you turned down the Lakers. You tell the kids, I did it for you.
Well, that to me is one of the dumbest takes I've heard.
Well, thank you, Dan.
No, not you.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Stugotz.
Yeah.
I got a Stugotz on my team too. Here, I got the Jalen Stewart, and
My man.
I called him, Stu, and I got in trouble for Breanna Stewart. So now I call him Stugotz sometimes when he does. But one of the worst takes I've ever heard is this was a leverage play by me to improve my situation at UConn. I don't need leverage here. We've won back-to-back national championships, at this place. And I'm not, this was never a leverage situation for me. I've had a contract in place here, for a couple of weeks, and the financial part in terms of salary has been done for a while. There's some other parts like NIL and staff salaries and some different things that I needed that I want adjusted that I'm not comfortable with. But the sense or the idea that this was some conspiracy to get me a sweeter deal at UConn is just, it's lazy and not, it was truly like a gut-wrenching decision for me because I was really Sunday night going into Monday where I had a kind of a deadline in my mind. I was like torn and I didn't know really what I was going to do until I went to bed.
What was the deadline in your mind? Why did you do that?
Well, we had practice with the players. We had a scheduled practice at 1 o'clock on Monday, and it obviously had become a circus. It was weighing on me and my wife and my two sons and my whole family, and then with the players and their families. I mean, that are here. Just the timing is terrible. It's June. Like we already had completed like a week of practice together, and then this whole thing, came up. I had a player that removed his name from the draft that very well could have stayed in the draft that had come back to UConn to play for me and to do one more year and to go for a three-peat. So, like it would become too much of a circus. And if I had no deadline, I would have tortured myself over the decision for a longer period of time because, the chance to coach the Lakers and LeBron and AD and to work for Jeannie Buss and to work with Rob Pelinka was like, it was a hard thing to pass up.
Dan, I can't pretend to know you. I have read Woj's book on your father, and so I'm assuming from your body language, the way you're hiding in your hat on some of the praise that you're getting and some of the attention you're getting in the middle of the basketball finals, given how much you respect basketball from the crib. Are you embarrassed by what the last few days have been publicly?
Yeah, I think so, to a degree. Wow, you're really breaking me down here. For me, it's not been, my life has changed a lot in the last 22 months in terms of how I'm viewed, in sports, in basketball. For me, I've always been, not quite good enough or the third or the third wheel or just pretty good. And obviously a lot has changed, for me in terms of the success in basketball and just didn't imagine, I guess just being in this position. It's not something that, was some plan I had, 25 years ago when I got into coaching or 15 years ago when I was a high school coach driving I can't curse on
Yeah,
here,
you
right?
can.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, I was driving a cheese bus, I was driving a mini cheese bus around going to high school games 15 years ago. Like, I didn't think I'd be choosing between coming back for a three-peat at UConn or turning down the Lakers. I didn't see it coming, man.
Well, but the reason I asked the question is because you're coach's son, and I feel off of you, I cannot know this, the sort of embarrassment of I'm not the story. Like, you guys understand, like, yes, I can have my ego and it's my leadership and my discipline, but you've been dominating the basketball story when my guess is that if you were in some other position, you would want people talking about Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It took on just a crazy dynamic, and obviously it had, most of it had to do with just the Lakers, right? I mean, like anything Lakers with the NBA is going to be a huge story. I mean, they're talking about the Lakers nonstop. I mean, it's just, it's LA, it's the brand, it's the history, it's the media market, it's all those things. And I'm like a simple guy, man. I just the least complicated part of my day and the best part of my day as a basketball coach is the time on the court, the practice time. I love the practice time. I love the purity of coaching. Probably in the end, a lot of people they talk about how bad college basketball is with NIL and transfer portal, and I think a lot of that is just, I think it's a lot of it's excuses and it's whiny. Like it's a privilege to be able to coach at this level, make the amount of money that we make, and then coach like 18, 19, 20-year olds, and you could still like impact lives and coach at a high level. It's just being a college coach is incredible.
Dan, what did your wife want to do?
She got in, she was like crying in the beginning. I think initially that the first couple days of it, she got violently angry and emotional, like not like hitting me and stuff. Not like, get away from me. I don't want to consider this. You're torturing me with this incredible opportunity, you horrible human being. She was she got emotional, like I can't believe you're bringing this. Our life is so great. It's perfect. Like our lives couldn't be better, and now you're bringing this shit. So she was bad in the beginning, but then she warmed up to it when we got out there, and she met Rob and she met Jeannie, and and felt the weather, and we drove around Manhattan Beach, and just met the people though mostly, and she saw the vision of it. She was into it, but then when we got back to Connecticut, without having made a decision, and we got back home, and we both flipped back.
Ambition has been something I imagine that could test any relationship, like the stuff, you know what I mean? So that when you're getting to a point, really, again, we got to move. We got settled. We're good here. We've arrived at the top of the mountain. This is success, right?
The nerve of Dan to bring his wife a $70 million offer.
No, that when you say it's gut wrenching, though, I get it from there, Dan. What are we choosing? Are we choosing family, or are we choosing what Dan wants all the time?
Yeah, and for me, I was a high school coach for 9 years, so I got a chance to, when my kids were young, I got a chance to, to get to Little League games and to get to CYO games, and like when my kids were in grade school, I was able to kind of be there for them before I went into the college, rat race. But I also too, it's like, I'm still haunted by my playing career in a lot of ways, and just in terms of how disappointed I am to this day in terms of how that went for me at Seton Hall. So now I do feel this enormous pressure in coaching to to kind of make up for that in a way, and to achieve more greatly because of the disappointment that will kind of eat away at me whenever my playing days are brought up.
That one is rough. Like the tapestry of who it is that you've built to get to this moment to conquer. Like, what an interesting, fascinating decision for you to have to make. And I don't think that people would understand that the last 10 days haven't been entirely joyful to you, that you would arrive at all beyond your wildest dreams and you'd still be gut-wrenched because it's an embarrassment of riches, but people don't understand what it's like to be you.
I mean, too incredible. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to say it because people will roll their eyes, like real people that like have like real problems and real struggles, and so it's like, you sound like an idiot, but it's absolutely true. Like you have two incredible opportunities, and it's like it tears you up inside. I mean, from when we got on from when we landed and started spending time with Rob and Jeannie, and spend time around the facility, and then knowing like what you'd be leaving at UConn, and like trying to imagine walking into the locker room and telling your team like, I'm not with you guys anymore, because the beautiful thing that is still there for us in college that at UConn that the NIL and the portal hasn't destroyed is like, we have a real beautiful connection here, like still in college. Like there's a feeling of connection, brotherhood, there's real true emotion and feelings for each other here because of the way that our program functions. That in the end, it's probably a deciding factor is your desire to continue to be a part of that, and not knowing that necessarily is something that you could be a part of in the professional ranks.
Were there any good parts of the last 10 days? Because I got to be honest, you're making it seem like a misery. I mean, the Lakers courted you.
I'm making it seem like that. Let's be fair to him, because I am putting him in a bad spot talking about the difficulties of this. But I am surprised by some of the human answers that he's given, because I think I think people think these guys are ambition monsters, and they are, but they also have loved ones, and you're uprooting a life that is really good right now. Is there an amount of money, Dan? Is there an amount of money that they could have offered that would have changed the decision?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think coach talk is dead. I think nobody wants to hear coach talk anymore, right? I think that's over with. So, yeah, I think to leave there probably is, to leave a place at any moment in your life. I think that, like, to say that it's not a motivating factor, the finances to leave a place is definitely a thing. To stay at a place, I don't think it's ever going to be a thing. Like to stay somewhere like UConn, it would never have been, I think, a financial thing. Like, again, this wasn't like some like pressure tactic to make me the highest paid college coach. Like that was already done. But to leave a place, that you feel the way we do, and the family connection with my wife, my sons, my mother-in-law, my brother, my father, who, like, I know how much it means to my dad to go to the Big East tournament and to come to 10 UConn games a year at home, and sitting courtside when I'm coaching against Rick Pitino, to leave all that behind, there probably is a number. I don't know what that is.
Was the name Bronny ever brought up at any point?
On TV a lot.
That's a good answer.
I love Bronny. When I watched him in high school, I love Bronny. I think, we have kind of unique style of the way we play offense here at UConn. I think it's, our tactics and strategies, I think, are a little bit more unique. And I think it has a lot to do with my background, the high school coach, and then my upbringing with my father. And, what's weird is, like, he would have been incredible in our system with the way that we play basketball. Because he's so athletic, he defends, but then he's like such a smart player. And, he could shoot, he could pass, he's got a great feel. He could play a couple different guard spots. I really like Bronny, but he was not specifically, part of any particular conversation that I did not see on television.
Can you tell me whether you got a firm answer with conviction on whether it was known that you would indeed be coaching LeBron James next year?
Oh, man. I've been so honest the whole way, too. Now I'm going to start.
Well, now you have to tell the truth.
Yeah, I think, I can't answer. There was no definitive. I think anyone that's going to take that position there is anticipating you're going to get a chance to coach, one of the top 2 or 3 players of all time.
I really put you in a bad spot there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to play it cool here.
No, you're not playing it cool. You called him a liar. He's trying.
I did not do that.
He's comfortable and he is being super honest. And that question, the reason I ask it is because Tom Izzo couldn't get a hold of LeBron. The power has changed in that sport, and I don't know if you can get 100% answer on that. The job has to be independent of LeBron because he's a free agent. He can leave.
Yeah, I just think the exciting thing about coaching LeBron is in your mind, or any of these great players in the NBA. Like, if you show up with incredible work ethic, and you have like an incredible level of expertise of all aspects of the art of coaching. And then if you're like authentic, honest, and a strong leader, you're going to get the respect. Whether you played in the NBA, whether you've coached in the NBA, there's obvious adjustments that you'd have to make to do it. But, just great players like that, like all-time great players, they just want those things in the coach that's leading the organization.
I appreciate, Dan, your way. Obviously, the work speaks for itself. The results speak for themselves. But the way that you represent the entirety of this sport is worthy of admiration. I will get you out on this note. I just want quick answers from you on who voted which way. Dad, which way did he vote? What was Dad leaning? Was he saying Lakers or UConn?
Big East tournament, I mean.
UConn.
Mother-in-law. I'm sorry?
He did give his blessing to go out there with an open mind because it was too good of an opportunity. But he was UConn.
Mother-in-law.
Easy one. UConn.
And wife at the end?
UConn.
Yeah, you were outnumbered. Yeah,
but there was a number.
Yeah, there was a number. We need to get the family on. What was the number? Because I'm not sure there was a number. He was outnumbered. He thinks there was a number. There wasn't a number. There was not a number.
I was done. I mean, it didn't matter what I wanted.
Last thing, because Stugotz desperately wants to talk Billy Joel with you.
Yeah.
I do. I want to guess your top 5 Billy Joel songs of all time. I want to guess what yours would be. Can I do that?
Yeah. Obviously, New York State of Mind. Anytime that we go in for the Big East tournament or we go play at MSG, we blast that on the bus, custom bus when we lose. And the players like, who the hell is this? Right? That's not. That's not the version they like. They like the Jay-Z.
Dan, I had that at number 2, by the way. I guessed your top 5, and I had it at number 2. Do you want to hear the rest of your top 5, and you tell me if I'm right?
Yeah, go.
Okay, number 5, My Life.
Yeah, I like that.
That's in it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not a piano guy. You're not going to do that. Piano Man, Captain Jack. You're not going to do that. That's too easy. Everyone has that in their top 5. So I'm going to go number 4, Only the Good Die Young.
Only the Good Die Young, yeah.
I know this guy. Number 3, Big Shot.
Yeah.
He's being polite there. Number 2.
I like some of the, I don't want to say like, I don't know if they're like more of a,
Scenes from an Italian restaurant.
Just careful, careful, Dan.
I like that. It's
There
just
we go.
long. It's
Right.
just a long song.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is.
a long song.
You don't have time for that. I mean,
Dan, good talking to you. Congratulations. It really has been a wonder to watch your work, sir, and I'm happy for your success.
No, it was great being on with you guys, man. Love the show. You guys are, you're awesome in the Stan Van. I've listened to that multiple times, man. It's like one of the best things I've ever heard. And I love you guys. I love the Van Gundys.
Thank you, Dan, for making the time for us. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
thank you, Dan.
Right.
We've been doing some joking around today, but we really do have to get out of here. There are dangerous things coming this way, and we should not be here today. And the bands are coming, and the flooding is coming, and we will be getting out of here. Some of you might be disappointed that you will not be getting the full range of show today because we're going to have a mystery crate segment, or we're going to have South Beach Sessions, something that we have to do to replace an hour because we do really have to get out of here. I thought the Hurley conversation was super interesting, Stugotz, and sort of takes you inside of what was really happening with a human being inside of there, which is you got to go listen to the Lakers. You got to go.
You have to.
You have to go listen to them, but it doesn't mean that you're not going there sort of kicking and screaming, even though people can't imagine $70 million. But he also told you there was a number. And so the Lakers, what can be said here is whatever it is the Lakers were offering the free agent, they didn't have enough. They weren't offering enough to actually get him.
I can't imagine the Lakers not having enough money. They didn't offer enough money for whatever reason, you know?
Okay, I'm not, again, I've said it's a mom and pop business. I don't know how much
True.
money they do actually have. I don't know their finances. I know that the Buss family has made a mess of some of that stuff infighting over their father's fortune. And if you read anything about the Lakers, you will see a really messy financial situation and 12 years where they've only been more than a 7 seed one time in the last 12 years. So they're in a desperate spot to keep the post-Kobe, post-LeBron thing alive, but they didn't have enough to get the coach who just told you there was a number.
And that guy already has a lot. He makes a lot of money. He's at UConn. He's at a place where he's comfortable, where his family wants to be, where they love to be. And you have to factor all of that into the equation, Dan. He's won back-to-back national championships at a time where you have Nick Saban sprinting away from college sports and other coaches going elsewhere. This guy has figured it out. He's great. He's the best in the game right now. And perhaps he was thinking, hey, I'm the king of UConn, of Storrs, Connecticut. Everyone bows to me. You go to the NBA, and that changes in a heartbeat. And suddenly, you're not the guy in control. It's LeBron James who's in control.
Jessica, Lucy, what did you guys think was most interesting about what it is that Dan Hurley just had to say there?
I don't like the girly Billy Joel songs either.
That part was so awkward.
He didn't know what to do.
He got caught up in the air, a little too comfortable.
What did he mean? But by the way, I'm not a Billy Joel guy.
Vienna.
Jeremy, do you have
Vienna.
any ideas?
I think he was saying I like the girly songs, but then he was like, I don't want to say girly, more feminine. Like he likes the girly songs.
struggled
meant
with
Vienna.
that. Where'd you come
Yeah,
from?
100%.
Yeah.
I've been here all day, Dan. I've just been sitting and waiting for you to mention the fact that I was on the Zoom as well.
You couldn't get in
But
here
hey,
today
I'm here.
either? You couldn't get in it? What happened? Flooding got you too?
Yeah, flooding. It's a nightmare here. I was worried about being able to get back to the Fort Lauderdale area after the bands that are playing behind your head in the studio come through and make it inevitably flooded. So after driving through all of it yesterday when we were on our search for Panthers fans, I decided today would be a day to stay home.
Okay, so I do before before we do get out of here in a panic, I did want to talk to Chris and Roy about some I did want to talk some Panther hockey before we got out of here. But
The biggest game in Panthers history?
Yeah, but I want Lucy and Jessica to give me reaction to the Dan Hurley hasn't spoken before that, and he said some things that I was surprised by. And I'm just wondering how you guys experienced that, Lucy.
Well, I wish we would have talked to him about all the Batman stuff he had in the background. I couldn't stop looking at it. His hat was so cool. It was interesting to hear his perspective, especially as like a big college sports fan. It's nice to kind of see the big names stay in college sports, but I kind of wish we would have asked him some more fun stuff. He's got a great personality.
Yeah, so I screwed up is the bottom
Well,
line.
I didn't say that. I implied it.
No, you said it.
And
If
implied
if
it.
you're saying I wish we would have asked him some more fun stuff, you're saying it wasn't fun enough.
I didn't say it wasn't fun. I said I just wish you would have asked more.
Can we call him back? Can we find out
Yeah.
about that? Can we find out about the Batman information? The Batman.
Exclusive.
Oh my
interview
God,
part
his hat
2.
was so cool.
Yeah, very cool.
By the way, I should have said this to him. I don't like, I'm just going to be a coward, but this last week has been awesome for him. Like, come on. Like, he's been acting like what a struggle the last
I did
week has
ask
been
him
for him.
that. I did.
I
8
forced
minutes after he's gone.
I forced him into that position. I was like, he did say it was gut wrenching. You don't believe it was gut
I
wrenching?
believe that the decision was hard, but it's all good decisions. It's like, wow, this freaking awesome thing over here, or I get double the salary at UConn. Like, these are great problems to have.
Listen, he turned down $70 million. That's a great problem to have. Seriously.
Okay, but once you
That
get
has to feel good on its own.
This is absolutely true, but I'm always interested in how and where it is you guys disconnect from these people being human beings when the money is involved. Chris Cody, if you right now had some sort of great offer to work in
like
New
it.
York for Stephen A. Smith for more money, and now you have to leave your grandfather and you have to go and leave all the things you've known in your life, but it's a little more money or it's a great gig, you don't think you'd struggle with that? And
No,
your family
I would.
doesn't, and your family doesn't want to leave.
You just made it real for me, and I would. I'm already sweating thinking about my wife. Like, she's not going to want to take my daughter has friends at school.
Right.
I get it now.
Dan has a way of doing that, right?
But the money, I understand why it is people think that the millionaires aren't human beings, but if your wife doesn't want to leave, he called her violently emotional and then had to walk that back.
No, I'm just saying it must be a good feeling where you have such a good job and you love your job so much that you turn down a $70 million offer. That has to feel good. That's crazy.
Dan, you're literally describing the exact situation I was in. I had a great life in LA. I had so many friends, people who loved me. And then I moved to Miami. And guess what? I can't walk outside because I'm going to drown.
What's happening outside your house right now? Did you get a lot of, outside your apartment, did you get a lot of wind and bad weather last
like a
night
beautiful day,
that leaked into your apartment? Because it looks pretty great right now. You look like you live in paradise right now.
It's so expensive. It's not paradise. It's cost me everything, literally everything. Yesterday when I was driving, I did like the most illegal thing I maybe have ever done when I was driving. There was like, they dropped like the guards for the railroad track because it was raining so bad. And they were like, they didn't want people to drive. And that's the only way I could get to my apartment. So I had to drive through those.
Wow, the Panthers
You're
also
a
had
real
to do it.
Miamian. You're a real Miamian. You crossed the train tracks when you weren't supposed to.
I did not like the feeling of it. Also, I have to say, I'm a little angry with my dad right now because I texted him yesterday. I said, oh my God, the roads are so bad. I've never seen flooding like this in my life. And he doesn't respond, Lucy, are you okay? How are you doing? He responds, man, this is going to be really bad for insurance. That's not the priority right now.
Well, the Panthers
I
had
am the priority.
All right, let's stop.
I want to hear the rest of this transition.
Let's stop for just a second, okay? Because I do want to show people behind the curtain here. There is no one in the history of our show, and he leads by leaps and bounds over everyone else, who is more careful about not talking when others are talking than Roy. He schleps in here today. He hasn't said anything all show because there's a lot of fire coming from every direction. Amin did God knows what when he was here, and Roy has tried to speak twice during this segment, and the reason people can't do the show on remote is because they just trampled Roy twice.
And what Roy is trying to talk about is something he cares about more than anyone on this show or just about anything in his life.
It's too bad today's show was canceled, that there was no show today to talk about all of the amazing things that happened in sports yesterday and are happening this week.
See, there you go.
Let the man speak.
God damn it, man. Come on. The transition was going to be the Panthers are dealing with the same thing. They barely made it out of Fort Lauderdale yesterday when they tried to fly to Edmonton.
I honestly think this could have an effect on this series because they were delayed. They didn't leave till yesterday. I don't know how I feel about that decision. They could have left early on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like after the game. But I guess Maurice wanted to let them sleep in after the game night. This is an interesting call because they got delayed yesterday. They didn't get in until like 9 last night with the time change. Like you could see a sluggish Panthers team tonight, and the travel could be the reason for it.
Clearly, they delayed this flight because of the ball carve injury. I mean, it seems pretty clear to me.
Why?
Because he might have a concussion, he might have a broken
But he
jaw
practiced,
at
right?
the time. But he did practice
And
yesterday.
he's playing, I think, right?
Yeah, yes, I believe he's going to end up playing because he's wearing his normal jersey during practice. He seems like a game time decision, according to Paul Maurice yesterday.
But Maurice said that they have like, a whole team of people that do the math on, like going into different time zones, how much sleep you need. Like there's a whole, I hate people that are just like, I know it all. Know-it-alls when it comes to like.
But the math on what? Barkov's your
beat-
best player. Play him if he's available.
I don't like
Who
people that
cares?
are know-it-alls with how to beat time changes.
Right.
It's like, oh, you got to eat right before the flight. Like, shut up, all right? I have my own.
It's actually
recipe.
don't eat before the flight, and then when you land,
There
actually
you go.
start working out to get your body back in rhythm, circadian rhythms and whatnot.
There you go. That's what I hate.
Yeah,
That's what I hate.
He's right about that
Circadian
circadian
rhythm.
thing.
He's
Yeah.
right.
Whatever that means. Roy, do you want them to win the cup in Edmonton, or would you prefer them to win it at home?
I would prefer them to win at home, so I have to go to Edmonton.
No, but Roy,
I know.
can we talk about
That's
your
why I
plans?
asked, yeah.
Yes.
If the Panthers win tonight, Roy's hopping on a bird and will be in Edmonton for Game 4.
Wow.
If they lose tonight and they can't clinch in Game 4, he's staying and we'll go to Game 6 if that's a thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I'm looking at flights right now, and they are ranging between 1,800 and 3,500.
Good thing Dan's paying for it. I mean, you're good.
Yeah.
So you're rooting for the Panthers to lose tonight, essentially.
After 30 years of watching this team
I'm sorry.
and back-to-back Stanley Cup finals,
Right.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, I'm
No,
rooting
see,
for them
Roy,
to
you
lose.
stop it right there. As much as I would love, in theory, a split, you get a chance to win it on your home ice in Game 5, that's terrifying, okay? We got to win every game.
Right.
If it ends up with a split, fine. but we need to be rooting for a win in Game 4.
If they go up 3-0 and Roy goes all the way to Edmonton and they lose that
Oh,
game,
that'd be the
4,
best.
That is worst case scenario, man.
But the
Because
scenario we're all rooting for.
no, you're rooting for this, but I can't go back for Game 6. That's not in the budget. Burn the boats.
I would save it for Game 6. I would save your
That's what
trip
I'm
for
doing.
Game 6.
There's no guarantee that there's going to be a Game
You
6.
don't have to be there.
I do have to be there. I'm going to end up on the ice with these people winning the Stanley Cup. I have to be there for that. What do you mean?
You just want to be there for that.
No, I'm actually doing work. This is actually for content.
If the cup is in the building, Roy has to be there. I'm sorry. If the cup is in the building, Roy Bellamy is in the building. But Roy, be careful. I've been tracking the flights in and out of Fort Lauderdale
Crazy.
and Miami International
Yes.
airports. The delays right now are beginning to mount. Inbound aircrafts delayed an average of 3 hours and 48 minutes at the moment. And your inbound aircraft delay may cause outbound aircraft delays. So be careful and be vigilant, Roy. Do not spend $800 on a non-refundable ticket unless
Right.
Dan Le Batard is the one refunding
He's
you.
right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even if I show up late in the third period and the cup's already on the ice, I'm going to be there.
This is the most confident version of Roy Bellamy I've seen in 20 years of knowing Roy. Are you confident headed into tonight?
Let's get that cup, Roy.
Come on, Roy. Tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, every time he says, yeah, they win.
That's right. It's time for Thursday Thunder. We got to do it quick because we got to get to Adnan and Samson. Thursday Thunder is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned.
And also, we got to do it quick because the gambling giant is breathing on our neck, making us come in here and do this segment
That's
in
right.
the rain.
And learn about everything that DraftKings has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Tony, Thursday Thunder, quick.
Juju, as always, putting together very carefully crafted the artesian single game parlayster. We've got Connor McDavid over 3.5 shots on goal tonight for the Oilers. We've got Matthew Tkachuk over 2.5 shots on goal tonight for your Florida Panthers. And we've got the Mercury Kalea Copper over 21.5 points. That is your Thursday Thunder. That was real Thunder, actually. That wasn't even the bet.
Yeah, we've got a problem here. Stugotz has left. He's fled because we have to get out of here. It is actually dangerous here with all of the flooding and the flash flooding and the state of emergency in Florida. But the gambling giant has told us that we have to do that Thursday Thunder. And so both Tony and Roy are telling you that there are going to be shots in this game because Tkachuk hasn't been a factor here in this series in a way that's any kind of special yet.
That's right, Dan. It is clutch time. Expect to see some shots from Matthew Tkachuk in this one.
Well, for sure, expect to see them from McDavid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
He
Over
might
3.5.
get 6. Yeah, he might get 6 tonight.
I mean, if it's under 3.5 for him, what a pathetic way for their season to go out just strangled to death by the Panthers.
yeah, just a whimper. Oh, boy, I can't wait to see that cup on that ice.
You better settle down. We just got to get home safe first. And it would be perfect, though, that upon winning the cup, South Florida, all of it is underwater. Just
Priorities.
completely,
Yeah.
totally underwater. In celebration of the Ice Cats, we have water everywhere. Adnan and David Samson are with us now to do their movie segment. Top 5 movies of all time that have great food scenes in them, or I guess top 5 food scenes in the movies is the way to say that if you're not scared of the typhoons outside and need to get out of here because you're afraid of storm making Meadowlark wash away.
I don't want to spoil their list, but if the food fight scene in Hook isn't in this, I am going to
Well,
fight
hold
somebody.
on a second.
Wow.
I mean, hold on a second. Aggressive, and Adnan is changing his list because it's always he's always interested in making his list more popular.
No, I simply was jotting down, Dan, that may be an omission, but I said, okay, that might get the mind flowing in a different direction. But I don't want to piss off Cody, but he's not going to be happy with that list if that's what he's insisting upon.
I have an omission as well that I just thought of, and I'm despondent. The food fight in Animal House is not on my list.
All right. So again, though, Animal House is a 1978 movie. This segment is struggling to stay somewhere in the 2000s. Go ahead. And whose list are we going to first, Samson or Adnan's? How do you want to do this?
David, go ahead.
Number 5. It is a movie from the 70s, but it's a line you all use from 5 Easy Pieces. When Jack Nicholson wants toast, the waitress says there is no toast, so he orders a chicken salad sandwich hold the lettuce, hold the butter, hold the chicken, and he gets served his toast. I use that every day, much to the chagrin of my fellow diners.
That's a great movie and a great scene. Early Jack Nicholson, pre-Cuckoo's Nest. I love that movie. I'd love to crush Samson, but Dan, that's a great pick and a hell of a scene.
Okay, but he said all of us use this, and none of us do. None of us still use this phrase.
I don't think anyone gets that reference. When Samson does that in a restaurant, no one understands. Oh, that's from 5 Easy Pieces.
I just want to get what I want. I don't need it. I don't need anyone to know what movie it's from, but don't tell me you don't have toast, or don't tell me you don't have an item that I know every kitchen has.
True.
And it's part of a different item on the menu, but people are so stuffy that they won't do it. So I'll say, give me that item and I'm happy to pay for it, but take all of it off. And I end up getting what I want.
Number 4.
LA Story. For those of you who love Los Angeles, which I know Metal Art does, there's a movie that you have to see with Steve Martin about Los Angeles. And there's a scene where I picture Le Batard at lunch with all of his highfalutin climate change friends. And they're sitting around ordering coffee. And Le Batard is sitting there with his fantastic, beautiful wife, who I adore, Valerie, saying, I'll have coffee. I'll have coffee with a twist, lemon with a twist, another twist. It is a perfect LA movie. If you're going to move to LA or you love LA, Randy Newman, watch LA Story.
All the half-calf, double decaf with a twist of lemon. All the twist of lemon. All the twist of lemon.
I'll have a twist of lemon.
Also, the first scene with a hot dog is fantastic. There's more than one great food scene in LA Story. I love that movie.
You guys are agreeing too much. Number 3.
I hesitate to put this on my list, but Goodfellas is number 3 when Paul Sorvino, I hate doing this for Adnan, but when Paul Sorvino is cooking and chopping up food in a prison cell, I remember my visceral reaction to it as anger, because I didn't want anyone to think that being in prison was in any way good at all, but he was allowed to cook a meal. It's a great scene.
Hey, Vinny, don't use too many onions. By the way, Vinny is Scorsese's dad in that movie. So great.
You guys sound like real pals here, like soulmates, like stepbrothers. Number 2.
the rain is bringing us
is
together.
Ending, Dan.
Yeah. Okay.
When you're seeking a friend for the end of the world, you can end up with Adnan.
All right. Number 2.
That's a movie reference, Le Batard. You totally missed it. Number 2, Pulp Fiction. Several choices in this movie. You could go with the $5 shake, which was one of the great scenes that we talked about last week, or you could go with the famous Royale with cheese when he's eating the burger, and it's the Big Kahuna burger.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what's in my head, and that is a great scene. Number 2.
Can't quibble with Pulp Fiction. What's number 1?
Number 1 is the scene that everybody, maybe nobody in the room knows, but hi, my name is David, born in 1968, and I'll wear it. 9.5 weeks is the movie, with Mickey Rourke pre-plastic surgery, with Kim Basinger pre-Alec Baldwin, and you want the sexiest scene that's not found on Channel J with Robin Bird, you go to 9.5 weeks, and you see strawberries in a way that will make you realize whether you are who you are.
All right. It's pornographic, and it's also it's pornographic from 50 years ago. From 50 goddamn years ago.
Weather's getting bad. We got to speed this segment up.
Yeah, I know. Yes, it's leaking in here. There's water coming into the studio. I can feel it. We do have to get out of here, but we had to stop momentarily to do a segment about movies from 50 years ago. Sex scenes from 50 years ago. A teenage David aroused for the first time watching 9.5 weeks and the idea that people can have sex with food.
Now we know when he first got a boner, Dan.
It's unbelievable. That's what we had to come in here for today. Adnan, what's your top 5? You agreed way too much. Number 5.
Okay, number 5, we're going to go a little bit older. Lady and the Tramp eating spaghetti together. I mean, that is an unbelievable scene. How about an animated movie bringing together all of us? Who has
We
not
are fired.
No, who hasn't had a plate of spaghetti and tried to mimic that scene? All right.
Number 4.
4. The Great Outdoors. Tony, you want a comedy? How about John Candy, the old 96er? Whenever I think of someone getting meat sweats, I think of John Candy in The Great Outdoors. That's a great movie, Le Batard. Number 4
Roy
is
really happy about that.
Oh, that's great.
Number
man.
3.
Number 3, Old Boy. A little more reference, a little more contemporary here. This guy gets fed dumplings for 15 years and eats a live octopus. It's an incredible scene. Jarring, brilliant. Old Boy, number 3.
Number 2.
You're going to be pissed, Dan, with the ageist, but I got to be honest. Cool Hand Luke. Paul Newman eating 50 eggs in an hour? That is an unbelievable scene. I don't give a damn what year it came out from. Paul Newman, 50 eggs in an hour. Awesome.
That is pretty good. Number
If
one.
you're going to do an egg, Adnan, I thought you'd do Rocky eating raw eggs.
Yeah, that's also a good option. Number one, it's the greatest food movie ever. Stanley Tucci, Tony Shalhoub, Big Night. The scene where they're making the timpano and they bring it out and Ian Holm eats it. He goes, I could kill you. I could kill you. That's how good the food is. Big Night, a mouth-watering feast for the senses.
Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop, the shrimp salad sandwich, the banana in the tailpipe, the buffet at the Harold's Club.
At the Harold Club, that's right.
And they had a coffee with a lemon twist. A lemon twist, which what you mentioned earlier.
All the twist of lemon.
Oh, my
That's
God.
a great call, Roy. It looks like your head's not in Edmonton after all. That was great.
Roy hates that you guys excluded that. Thank you, David. Thank you, Adnan.
Getting bad in here.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. I will remind the audience, Nothing Personal is what you should check out if you want some great stuff inside and outside of sports business. Also, he's got the sporting class coming out tomorrow with John Skipper and Pablo Torre and Adnan Virk, cinephile. You want to find that you learn more about movies, that's the place to do it. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your time, as always. We do have to get out of here because it's
Bring in the grounds crew.
Yeah, it's getting bad in here. It is too bad that today we couldn't have time to discuss what a great night it was in Boston sports. It's unfortunate that the show
Luca.
ends
I
this
can't
way.
believe it.
I would have loved to celebrate Tom Brady in the Hall of Fame and one of the great nights in Boston sports history, but unfortunately we have too much rain here and we are out of time and I got to get home because it is genuinely flooding around here. I'm sorry, America.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.